Hey everybody, welcome back to Red Mug Music. How are you doing today? It's actually kind of cloudy here today, but it's a quiet day and actually kind of nice, so I'm enjoying my day so far. But I wanted to jump back on here and do another episode of Battle of the Albums. I think it went really well last time. We had Hysteria versus Appetite for Destruction, and I think there was a lot of comments, especially in Facebook groups, and I think it went really well. So I wanted to do it again. Um, Actually, my buddy Fallon on made a comment saying that he thought it would be a good idea for people to give me two albums that you think I may not have ever heard before, that you feel like maybe I can review and throw those into the arena and see if we can figure out, which one would come out on top. So if you have two albums for me, let me know. I would love to do that. I love listening to new music, and I don't care what it is. It could be bluegrass, it could be rap, it could be, heavy metal. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. But just, let's try to, let's not do like Metallica versus the Chipmunks. Let's make sure that they're pretty close and there's some kind of a similarity. Like today's two albums, the similarities are they're both English bands. Um, they were both huge in England and in the United States. And these two particular albums came out in 1982, and actually they were two of the best albums of that particular year. And for both bands, this particular album is arguably one of the best albums that they had put out. So if you were to ask anybody that was a fan for these people or a fan of these people, they would say that this particular album may be in the top three at least, arguably. Of course, that's, matter of opinion. So today it's going to be The Cure, Pornography versus Duran Duran, Rio. Now, if you think this is apples to oranges, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, I don't know. But we're going to do it anyway, and we're going to have fun doing it. Now, last time what I did, I went track by track, and I pretty much did a verses by track, and I'm not going to do that. I don't really want to do that anymore because it didn't really um, help make my decision last time. I just thought it would be fun, but we're just going to do one album at a time, talk about it, and then I'll give you what I think is the better album between the two. And the first one is going to be The Cure, Pornography. Um, the Cure's popularity was due to the big college scene, and there was a huge alternative gothic following that also helped propel the Cure's popularity without much commercial success. So a lot of it, they didn't even need, the general public to like them for them to be as popular as they were. They just were, because of college and college kids. And this particular album has a really good intro, 100 years, and then following up with a short term effect. I think that's very important in what I would consider a great album. Have a great first song and a great second song, because I feel like that sets the mood, it sets the tone, and kind of gives you an idea of what to expect. And the songs have very simple melodies, very simple chord progressions, but they still got the point across. They were able to tell that story, and it was from all the ambient sounds and all the extra, and just they set the mood big time on this album, that was for sure. And you feel every drum pound as though it's like your heartbeat, and it would be racing, but because there's a certain drum sound on this album that was pretty much on every song. It was like this. It was like every song was like controlling your breathing with this, with the drumming, and I thought that was pretty cool. They definitely. I'm buying into what they're doing on this album. They're doing a fantastic job. So the album tells a story very well, and it creates so much imagination for yourself, and you find yourself immersed in this dark gothic story mentally and audibly. So again, they're doing an exceptional job of pulling you in and having you kind of feel and understand and be part of what they're going through on this album. But the songs themselves are very good, including like Hanging Garden, Figurehead, 100 Years, and Cold, plus really good transitioning between songs. Like, for instance, a short term effect going to Hanging Garden This is a really good example of how the sequencing was exceptional, and it was very purposeful. You can tell because you're feeling a certain thing with a short-term effect, and but then it completely changes. But but again, it's just like watching a movie, you know. But it goes from one song to the next, and it was just like the perfect transition. So the transitioning was fantastic, and there's a lot of textured moods and a lot of mood changes like I said, at the perfect time, going from song to song. But this music keeps you off balance. Um, just how they play it. I won't really get into that because I was trying to explain it earlier, and it was just like so many words. But this the way they're playing the music, it just keeps you off balance, and they while you're off balance and while they're doing this, they still managed to keep this beautiful melody undercurrent throughout the whole album, so you could hear it. And I was just very impressed with this album. Um, but I know I personally love and I can appreciate Robert Smith's vocals, but I know it's not going to be for everybody, and it's going to be an acquired taste, so that may kind of hold it back a little bit. I love it. I love his voice. I love The Cure, and but this album was exceptional. So next we'll get into Rio by Duran Duran. I'm a big fan of Duran Duran also. Duran Duran, on the other hand, were starting to see a lot of commercial success by the time Rio came around, and they were actually becoming MTV darlings. So they were definitely, when it comes to apples and oranges, there you are. The Cure was not seeing commercial success as much as Duran Duran was. I mean, Duran Duran at this point was becoming a household name, and I remember that very well with the videos. It was a very well made album. Had a great start with Rio in My Own Way, which, again, this is a really good start of the album. I think they did a really good job of setting the tone and the bar, and giving you an understanding of what you're getting yourself into. And it had great hits like Rio, Hungry Like the Wolf, Save a Prayer, The Chauffeur. I mean, this album was packed full of just really, really good hits, and some of these are mega hits. Simon Le Bon's his on this album is a freaking lyrical genius. He was writing lyrics like he was out of his mind, and I don't really care about lyrics. I like the singer. I like the vocals, but I kind of see vocals like an instrument. I'm just hearing how it adds to the rest of the song, and that's all I really care about. But here, he wrote such great lyrics. I know them all. Like, I remember getting this album when I was young and learning every word because I just had to. And that's not like me. That's not something I do. So, but the way he wrote these songs was phenomenal. It was just very exceptional. Um, and I just remember hearing all the other band members, just I could hear them all individually, and it seemed like they were all just like on top of their game, and just doing a fantastic job. Even like John Taylor, he may be one of the most underrated bass players of all time. If you don't think he's a good bass player, you're out of your mind. This guy, he has a very complex style, and he even added that fretless bass, which gave it a nice melodic sound. So he was definitely a huge part of this album. And you have Nick Rhodes with his keyboards. I think he is, and the keyboards. He and the keyboards are like the heart, the center of Duran Duran. Not including the vocals. The keyboards were providing like this delicate but very complex melodies that were very important. But that was kind of an 80s thing also, but they have continued to do that. And Nick Rhodes created some very unique pieces for this album, so I love listening to this album. But again, good songwriting, good song variety, very good placement. There's a very good flow. I love the sound. I just like listening to this album from beginning to end. I sing the entire album from beginning to end. There's not a bad song. This is an exceptional album. There's not one single bad song, and they definitely have the ability, like I'm talking about moods with The Cure. Duran Duran was able to do that too. Songs like New Religion, Save a Prayer, and The Chauffeur, I mean, those are moody. So in the end, when I came to my decision on which one is better between The Cure's Pornography and Duran Duran's um, Rio, I had to side with Duran Duran Rio just because it had a little bit more, well, it had a lot more variety. Um, it it had, like I said, these mega hits that'll be around forever. We'll always be listening to Rio and Hungry Like the Wolf, and us Duran Duran fans will be listening to the whole thing all the time because this is maybe arguably their best album. And I'll link my Duran Duran rankings so you can see where I put it in Duran Duran rankings. It's a really good video if you'd like to watch that. But but this is taking nothing away from Pornography by The Cure. This is an exceptional album and a very exceptional effort by The Cure. And if you want to go along a nice, dark, brooding, especially this time of year, ride, listen to this album. Just put some headphones on, just start it at the beginning and go all the way through, and you're going to go through an adventure. And it's going to be dark and it's going to be gloomy, but it's going to be phenomenal. And there's a lot of great music on this album. So I recommend both albums. I think they're both fantastic. If you haven't listened to either one of them, please do. I think you'll be pleased. But again, I'm going to go with Rio, Duran Duran. I think that's definitely going to be the better in between the two. And like I said in the beginning of the video, if you have two albums that you want me to put into the arena and have them go head to head, let me know. I've listened to a lot of music, but there's a lot out there that I haven't heard, so maybe you can throw something my way that I've not heard, and I can learn about it and maybe see if you agree that if I picked the right album. But anyway, don't forget about Instagram, Red Mug Music, Facebook.com/Red Mug Music. You can go to my website, redmugmusic.com. And that's going to be it for today. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you next time.